Hey, look, I got this funny story for y'all. While I cleaned my house up, I figured I'd share it with y'all. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I ran from all the bullies in school. I did, man. And looking back as a grown man today, I don't know why I ran. I believe I was just afraid. I was afraid. But look, let's go back to when my first encounter with a bully. I'm not gonna say he was a bully, but I'm gonna give you all the stories from elementary to middle school to high school. All right? Okay. The first encounter, we was on the playground, and there was this big guy that everybody said could fight real good. So we was outside playing, and they again, I went to school in the poorest city in America. Hey, look, when the kids go out and play for recess, the property is gated in. Our property wasn't gated in. I remember literally going outside for recess, and the girl walked across the street, went in the house, made some Kool-Aid, and came back out. Well, anyway, we was playing on this park. We was playing outside at a piece of trash school. Well, they had a big sand dirt mound. And I remember this guy ran up, climbed up the dirt mound. He was like, I'm king of the world, whatever. I took a shovel. I said, I'm going to scoop the sand. I said, I'm going to scoop the sand right from under his feet and he fall. Man, I hit that man. I missed and hit him in the ankles with that shovel. I know that junk hurt. Man, that man, I thought he was going to hit me. I said, dang. Look. He said, look, when I hit him in the ankle, he said, ah. Look, this is what he did. He profiled behind. This is how he walked up to me. I'll show y'all. He said, hey, man. I said, bro, my bad, man. Look, he pushed me and I just fell down. And then he stood on top of it and he just walked off. So look, boy, that was the talk of the school. That was the talk of the school all week. All week, that was the talk of the school. And I remember, and I'm gonna tell you what kind of cleared my name. Let me show you. We was in math class. And now again, looking back, all these kids was poor. That's the only thing it was. All of these kids was poor. So I remember sitting in math class, right? Let me show you. I'm gonna give you an example of what was going on. Let me show y'all exactly what happened. I was sitting in math class we was taking a test. And the guy, let's just call him C. So I had hit C with the shovel, whatever. So anyway, everybody was laughing at me, whatever. That went on for a couple of days. All right. Yeah, I remember the two fat girls that went and sprayed at the room. Yeah, C pushed Micah down and he was scared. Fast forward to the day, both of you. Yeah, it makes sense now. Hey, fast forward to the day, the two girls that went and spread at the rumor, one of you was already 200 pounds in elementary. I can imagine how big your behind is today. And today, both of you is about 200 pounds. You still go to the class reunion, but you don't have a ring on your finger. You got a couple of babies. But anyway, so after they big behind spread at the rumor, I remember sitting in math. And C come in. C had came to school late this day. We was taking a test. The door was open. Everybody was quiet. Miss Thompson with them huge eyeglasses on, sitting up there watching everybody. I'm saying to myself, man, I'm going to pass this. This is too easy. You hear the outside door swing open that lead out of school. That door swung open and slammed. C came in there. He stood right over top of that dude named Chris. Hold on, let me see if I can. Hold on. I hope my kitchen ain't too dirty. Y'all can see what I'm about to do. Look, I'm taking my test. And the other, it was look, we in a poor town. So it wasn't many white kids, but there was a white kid there. He was a little heavy set. He sat right across from me. I'm sitting there taking my test as a kid. I'm going to pass this test. We heard that door swung open. With somebody walking down the hall. C come in the classroom. C did this, y'all. C walked right up to the white guy. He said, hey, man, why you let that tie? He said, let me show you. Hold on. Look. I'm sitting there taking my test. Listen. C come into class. The dude was sitting right there trying to take his test. He stood right on top of him. He said, hey, man. He said, man, why you let the air out? He said, why you let the air out my bike tire? I remember it to this day. That man was taking it till he looked up at him. He said, this is what he said. I didn't let the air out of your tire, dude. And look, C did this. C said, I would give you 3 seconds to tell me what happened. He said, I didn't let the air out of your tire, dude. Man, listen. C counted down. He said, 1, 2, 3. Boom, 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 boom. Look, he was hitting that dude. Man, this is at 8 o'clock in the morning. What really happened, C woke up with no father in the house. Look, C woke up with no father in the house, shoes from Walmart, and no breakfast. So that's why he came to school upset. I'm sitting here that ate breakfast. I got Walmart shoes on too, but I had breakfast. Well, he went to laying them haymakers on him. We didn't have no minute to school but one guy. That teacher went to screaming, hey, Mr. Joe, help. Mr. Joe come running in there. Man, look, after C hit him about 5 times, C just walked off. I remember to this day, that boy was hollering. He said, ha, 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 ha. This is what I thought to myself. Man, that could have been me. I just got back to work. So look, fast forward. That was one instance. I'm gonna give you another instance. When we walked out of the school, we had to walk across and get on our bus. We didn't stay far from school. We literally could have walked to school. So I remember this one guy, project baby. Yeah, he was a project baby, rode a bicycle to school and had gold teeth in his mouth in elementary. So I remember he used to always wait right there at the door. He'll wait right there at the door on his bike. Didn't no teacher stop none of this. So I'm coming out. He targeted me. So he had me scared to go get on the bus. I'm fixing to miss my bus fooling with a project baby. I remember one Friday, I said to myself, I got to deal with this sorry child with no father in the house. So I'm getting ready to leave, got my little book bag on. He's standing right there by the door on his bike. And I remember some guy walked up, started talking. He said, hey, man, what up, man? And they started talking. I kind of eased out on the bus. And Monday, he didn't make it to school. He didn't make it to school because his poor behind ended up in alternative school. In my life, it was made easy. Now, fast forward to middle school. Again, all of our school was in the doggone hood. So I remember all the kids were saying, yeah, man, when we go to middle school, that's really like a training camp for when we get to high school. Y'all gonna learn how to fight. I said, dang. So look, I remember when these bad fatherless child kids go to alternative school, it was kind of like a prison. You know how y'all do it today? Y'all glorify the rapper that go to prison 2-3 years, and then when he come home, it's all love. I remember. All right, so we was it 7th grade? 7th grade, we're in middle school. All right. Now, around this time, people care about their image now because everybody got Jordans on, everybody fresh. And my parents just wasn't going to buy me no name brand shoes, so I always wore Walmart or Kmart shoes. So there go my image. So I remember walking to class. I was running a little late, so I was trying to hurry up and get to class. I didn't want to hang out. I remember this one boy that everybody deemed as a king. His poor behind, fatherless child, messed up teeth in the projects with that government cheese, and he had just got out of alternative school. Yeah, man, such and such get out of alternative school. He gonna be in school Monday. All right, now everybody's eyes was on him. So here I go. I'm walking to class, running late, right? He was coming this way. My class right there. So as I'm walking, as I'm coming to class, I'm just trying to go around him so I can go in the building. But he wasn't paying attention to when he was walking. He was walking like this, talking to somebody else, doing all this. He doing all that, and he bumped into me. Look, again, I'm a square, man. I'm gonna admit I was a square. I'm just trying to get to class. Got my little book bag on, my glass. I'm trying to get to class. And when I bumped into Buddy, back then it was cool to, if you about to fight, throw your book bag on the ground. So look, I'm running late for class. Everybody I got to class with, sitting in the class, the teacher about to do roll call. Guess who's standing outside the door? Gibson. Guess who's standing outside the door as well? The project baby who just got out of prison, aka alternative school. So when he bumped into me, he threw a book bag off, and I'll knock you out right now. I just walked into the class like I ain't him. But guess what? Everybody seen that. Guess who was the talk of the town? Gibson. Man, such and such just got out of alternative school. He already about to fight. Who he about to fight? Man, he was about to knock Mike out. Man, what happened? Man, he bumped into him. He was about to knock Mike out. He was scared. So that went on for a while. Then let me see. What happened after that? I think that was probably the only occurrence in middle school. So that was 7th grade. It was 8th grade. Then, you had the rules of certain bathrooms you couldn't come in. It was prison. That's all it was prison with a bunch of fatherless project babies. All right. Oh, let's rewind a little. Oh, no, this is still middle school. All right. So I'm playing football. Y'all probably already heard this story. I said, man, I'm going to go try for football. I was sorry. I didn't make the team. I'm riding the bench. I said, man, I said to myself, it's my last year I do this. I ain't doing this dumb jump. We were drinking out of a water hose. We didn't have no coolers. We was drinking out of a water hose. And guess what the fatherless project babies did? Oh, yeah. If you ain't getting no water. You ain't getting no water. I said, man, flip this jump. One dude had mercy on me. He looked like Nelly. So everybody standing, he said, man, come on, bro. So, I got some water and I kind of left. We drinking out of a water hose. I said, yeah, this is stupid. So that was my last year playing ball. And I remember my pop showed up to practice. He ain't never show up to no games. He ain't never show up to practice. But he come to practice today. Gibson get ran over. All right. It was time for me to go. Again, I ain't know my pops was there. I had my little bike. He said, my pop said, man, put your bike in the van. And then this fatherless project baby pull up to my father and say, man, your son's sorry, man. I said, dang. Now, looking back today, he didn't have a daddy in the house. And my pop should have said, where your daddy at? He didn't have a daddy in the house. Yeah, it makes sense now. You and your brothers that living in the projects, y'all had different daddies. Neither one of y'all knew who y'all daddy was. Y'all was in and out of alternative school. Today you a loser. Back then you was a loser. You didn't get no gifts for Christmas. You had free lunch at school. And you was walking around with the Merry Christmas tennis shoes on. Hey, so look. So that went on. I'm saying to myself, man, why he say that? Why he say I'm sorry? So what happened? Again, fatherless child, project baby. Didn't even know who his daddy was. His mama couldn't halfway raise him because she was always drunk and high. So you fast forward till you get to high school, 9th grade year. Now, from elementary to middle school, we wore uniforms. Well, the high school had the bright idea if nobody had to wear uniforms. I said, man, I'm poor. I ain't gonna be able to jump fresh every day. So 9th grade year, that was my 9th grade year. So I remember this to this day. But I hope my wife don't watch this video. So look. So my 9th grade year, right? It was this girl that had a crush on me. But the guys from 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, they wanted her. Now, I've always dated light-skinned women my whole life, right? So my wife is light-skinned, right? So look. So yeah, again, we kids, whatever. So the girl, she liked me or whatever, and I liked her, man. I liked her, whatever, But a couple of dope boys wanted the girl. So look, I remember we were sitting in class, and I remember one dude. Yeah, I remember this one dude. He kept failing school. He was about 19 in the 12th grade. He wanted her. So I remember him telling me one time. He said, "Man, such and such like." He was like, "Man, you lame, bro." I said, "Man, what you talking about?" I was, bro. I was poor, man. Walmart shoes in the 9th grade. Bro, I had Walmart shoes in the 9th grade. Everybody got Jordans, Reeboks, Nikes, Reebok Classic. the double knee dicky pants. Man, I'm pole mouthing around here. And so I was like, my self-esteem was low, but she was feeling the kid. So whatever. All right. So I remember this dude, his pole behind had failed school by 5 times. He's 19, 20 in the senior. He said, man, he said, man, bro, he just walked up to me. He said, man, you lame, bro. I said, man, what you talking about, man? I said, man, what you talking about, man? He said, man, such and such like you, huh? I said, man, I ain't thinking about that girl, bro. And so he exposed me in front of everybody because he liked her too, but she ain't like his pole mouth, man. So I remember we was in class. It was quiet. You can hear a pin drop, right? Somebody said something, and I didn't know she was in there. I said, man, I ain't studying that girl, man. I'm straight. Boy, she hollered out, well, I don't care about you either. I said, dang. Well, fast forward, she ended up dating a drug dealer. Whatever happened with that, happened with that. So look, that was my 9th grade year. 10th grade, same thing. Still pole mouthing. Imagine being in the 10th grade and you wearing Walmart shoes, tennis shoes. Same thing happened. You got the bullies. Because back then, you got to understand, when I got to high school, I was exposed to a whole another level of foolishness. Because now the kids got box Chevys, Roadmasters. They got 215s, 412s in the trunk. They smoking. They drinking. They got gold teeth in their mouth. They got gold chains on. Now, back in the 9th grade when we were still wearing school uniforms, I'm going to be honest, you had 20, 21, 22-year-olds come hang out at the school doing class change and lunch because didn't nobody know it. Nobody wore a uniform. And the girls in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade were sleeping with the guys 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So then, you got poor old me, a peasant. So fast forward to 10th grade, same old foolishness. Couple guys bullied me. One guy, tall guy, he stole my cell phone out my jacket pocket. I didn't know he stole it till like maybe an hour later. I checked my pocket and I kind of retraced my steps. I said, man, with him. They had another guy, he played football. He saw it, pole mouth behind, stayed with his grandma. And he stayed with his grandma because he ain't had no daddy in his house and his mama was sorry and his grandmama gave him everything. Well, anyway, I remember I was sitting in class one time and he hit me in my leg because my leg was in the way. He said, man, get out the way. And that was pretty much, that summed up my years of experience. But the summer of my 10th grade year changed everything. Man, listen. The summer of my 10th grade year, I got on my grind. I ran up like $5 grand throughout the summer. So when 11th grade hit, I went and got me a Snow White Grand Marquis. Oh! Snow White Grand Marquis, right? And then I went and got me a pair of double knee dicky pants, black Air Force Ones, white Air Force Ones. Listen, I only wore white and khaki or white and blue with my friend. Listen, every 3 months I go buy a new pair of Air Force One, throw them other ones in the trash. The only place I was going was school and work. I wasn't going nowhere else. My car was clean. I kept $1,000 in my pocket. Snow White Air Force Ones every 3 months. And I was on my grind every day. So 11th grade, I switched my persona. I said, I'm cool now. So what I do, I wouldn't go straight to class. Look, fresh white. I just take my time walking to class. So then, again, I went to school with my sister the whole time. So check this out. 11th grade year, I kind of changed my persona. I put 412s in my trunk. So 11th grade year, this is how I'm coming to school now. I pull up, that trunk used to be slacking. Look, that trunk would be like, wah. So look, then I step out. I'm, you know what I'm saying? Look, make sure my kitchen ain't dirty. Y'all gonna talk about it. This how I would walk to class. Let me show y'all. Yeah, my kitchen ain't too bad. Let me show y'all. I don't know if y'all can see that. If y'all can see that. Look out like that. So look, I had put my name on my tag in my car. I put Gip on there. So that's when everybody started really calling me Gip or whatever. So, and then as I got older, that was 11th grade. So 12th grade, you know, everybody going to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I decided I was going to start welding. So, and I remember my senior year, I knew about middle toward the end of my senior year, I said, yeah, I'm fixing to run some money up because ain't nothing going to stop me. And a lot of girls around this time that had kids and all this other junk. And I remember my sister used to come tell me such and such like you, such and such like you, such and such like you. Had a few girls ask me to take them to prom and all that other junk. Do you want to go to homecoming with me? Around that time, bro, I had ran up by 10 grand. Man, I wasn't thinking about nothing. I wasn't thinking about nothing but the money. And that kind of just that fast forwarded into me becoming an adult. I was on the same type of time. Forget everybody, screw everybody, just run the money up. And I was watching this TV show, and it just really jogged my memory, jogged my memory down memory lane. But as you get older, man, that junk don't mean nothing because that was 20 years ago. Nobody thinks about what they done 20 years ago. And as my kids grow up, your kids will be worried about what somebody else have to say. And in that moment in high school, your image is everything. But then you realize, man, that junk don't mean nothing. Oh, none of that means nothing. So, it's just funny, man, how life works out. You know, funny how life works out. Man, look, I'm about to cook me some breakfast, and I'm thinking to go to church, and I got to try and get this house clean. I told my wife I was gonna help her with the laundry. I still ain't put none of this laundry up. Man, I've been working all day. Man, I got time. I got time for that little petty laundry stuff. That's for peasants, man. Yeah. Sheets still ain't dry. Yeah, these sheets still ain't dry. Let me go, y'all.